Dear soul, pause for a moment and let your heart become still. The angels are close to you now, wrapping you in a soft and protective light so you can clearly hear the truth your spirit has been longing to know. You have been carrying a quiet question inside, one that has weighed on you in moments of silence and surfaced in the spaces between words. You have wondered if your special person has truly ended ties with someone from their past, someone who once held power over their emotions and choices. You have felt the echoes of this in their energy, moments where their attention seemed divided, moments where shadows of old connections still lingered in your heart's awareness. The angels want to bring you peace, and so they reveal to you with certainty. Yes, your person has ended those ties. And not only did they walk away, but they did so with courage, after a long inner battle, and with you in their heart as the guiding reason. This choice was not made lightly. Your person stood at a threshold, a place in their soul where they could no longer remain halfway. They felt torn between the comfort of what was familiar and the calling of what was true. For a long time, they had lived in a space of divided energy, pulled in two directions, trying to honor old connections while also longing for the sacred love they felt in you. But there comes a moment in every soul's journey where half steps are no longer enough. Your person reached this moment, and the angels tell you that they did not step back in fear. They stepped forward. They chose transformation. They chose truth. They chose to break the ties that were draining their spirit, even though it cost them tears, sleepless nights, and the painful task of letting go of someone who once shaped a part of their life. The angels explain that this decision came from deep within, not from anger or impulse. It was born from exhaustion, an exhaustion of living divided, of carrying guilt, of trying to serve two masters at once, the past and the future. They realized they could not build something sacred with you while still entertaining shadows from another. To truly honor you and the love you bring, they needed to be whole. And so they chose to release not just a person, but a version of themselves that kept saying yes out of guilt, duty, or fear of being unkind. They walked away not only from a relationship, but from an emotional prison. What ended was more than communication. It was a spiritual cord being cut, a final closing of a chapter that no longer aligned with the person they are becoming. Dear child, the angels want you to understand the depth of this process. Your person did not break ties with arrogance or coldness. It was not about revenge, nor about proving something. It was about finally hearing the voice of their soul, a voice that kept whispering, "You cannot keep living as half a heart." They had to choose to live fully, and they chose love. They chose truth. They chose to protect the sacred bond that is growing with you, even if they have not told you everything yet, even if their words are still clumsy or incomplete. The decision was real. It was complete. It was final. The angels say your person walked through nights of turmoil before this choice was made. They looked at your picture in quiet moments and asked themselves if they could truly become the partner you deserved. They wrestled with fear, the fear of hurting someone from their past, the fear of disappointing you, the fear of making the wrong choice again. But then something shifted. A divine force intervened. Their soul caught fire with a realization. To love you, they could not remain bound to what had once kept them small. To step into the kind of love you offer, they had to stand in their full strength, not in fragments. That realization carried them through the storm of ending ties. The last conversations with the other person were not easy. There were tears, words spoken in frustration, moments of doubt. They almost turned back, but each time, a stronger voice rose within them, a divine whisper repeating, If you go back now, you will lose what was meant for you. This voice gave them the courage to stay firm, to close the chapter with quiet strength. They did not walk away with hatred in their heart. They walked away with resolve, with clarity, with the deep knowing that this was the only way forward. The angels want you to feel the beauty in this. You were the light they carried while they walked through that storm. You were not just someone they chose instead of another. You were the vision of what love is meant to be: peaceful, nurturing, brave, and sacred. You were the reminder that real love is not about competition or confusion. Real love inspires transformation. Real love gives courage. Real love demands truth. It was the thought of you, the hope of a future with you, that gave them the strength to release the past. They did not just choose you, beloved soul. They chose the higher version of themselves that you awakened in them. The angels say your person is now stepping into new energy. They are no longer bound by emotional debts, no longer pulled back into cycles of guilt or obligation. They are learning to protect what is sacred. The walls they are building are not to keep you out, but to keep old shadows from sneaking back in. They are guarding their heart, not because they are closed, but because they want to keep what is real safe. They want to keep you safe. They want to keep your love safe. And though they may appear quieter now, though they may not always have the words to explain, this silence is not distance. It is the sound of someone rebuilding their foundation, becoming the kind of partner who can stand beside you with honor. Dear one, the angels know you have sensed this shift. You have felt it in your spirit, even when you could not explain it with your mind. You may have had dreams of release, moments when your heart suddenly felt lighter without knowing why, or flashes of peace where there once was tension. These were not coincidences. These were your soul feeling the cords being cut. Spiritually, you already knew that your person had chosen to end those ties. This message comes now as confirmation, a divine echo of what your intuition has been whispering. Your person has stepped into a new rhythm. They are no longer scattering their energy. They are no longer carrying the weight of someone else's expectations. They have declared to the universe, I am ready to walk forward, not backward. And though they still carry some sorrow for the pain the ending caused, they no longer apologize for choosing peace. They no longer regret honoring their spirit. They have learned that loyalty does not mean self-betrayal, and that true love cannot grow where guilt is being fed. The angels say this transformation is still unfolding. Your person is not yet fluent in the language of sacred love. They are unlearning old patterns, stepping out of cycles that kept them small, and learning how to stand tall in truth. They may stumble in expression. They may struggle to put everything into words, but their actions are speaking already. Their energy is clearer. Their heart is freer. Their steps are firmer. They are becoming someone who protects love, not someone who sacrifices it for shadows of the past. Beloved soul, the angels want you to rest in this truth. Yes, your person has ended all ties. And yes, they did it because of you, not because you demanded it, but because your presence reminded them of what real love feels like. You inspired them to choose differently. You awakened their courage. You became the proof that love does not need to beg to be chosen. Love does not live in confusion. Love does not divide. Love calls for wholeness, and they have chosen to be whole for you. Now, as you walk forward, the angels urge you to be gentle. Your person is rebuilding. They are still learning how to carry themselves as this new version of who they are becoming. They may not say much, but every day they are trying. Every day they are practicing. And every day they are choosing you, not just in words, but in the quiet strength of someone who has walked away from what no longer serves them, just to make space for a love as sacred as yours. Dear soul, your angels are close to you now. They surround you with stillness and peace, because what they want to share with you is not just an update about love, but a truth that touches the deepest parts of your spirit. You have been carrying a question in your heart, one that sometimes feels too heavy to even speak out loud. You have wondered if your person has truly ended all ties with someone who once stood beside them. You have searched for signs in their words and actions, hoping to find reassurance. And the angels bring you this message now. Yes, your person has walked away from that connection, but even more than that, they have stepped into a higher truth that has changed their life and their soul forever. This is not just an ending, it is an awakening. It is a sacred choice made with courage, not out of anger or rebellion, but because the voice of spirit could no longer be silenced. Your person has always wanted to do what is right. They have carried the weight of expectations from family, from tradition, from old promises, and from a life that once told them what love should look like. For a long time, they tried to live within those rules. They stayed loyal to something that looked noble on the outside, but quietly drained them on the inside. They honored promises that no longer matched who they were becoming. They clung to a structure that seemed safe, but it was a structure without joy. Deep down, they felt trapped, but they did not know how to step free. Then, you came into their life, not to demand change, but simply to be yourself. And your presence became the gentle light that showed them what freedom feels like. You did not push them to make choices. You did not ask them to leave anything behind. Instead, you loved them as they are, without masks, without pressure, without conditions. And this love awakened their soul. It stirred in them a deep unrest, a sacred questioning that refused to fade away. For the first time in a long time, they asked themselves, who am I truly? What do I believe in? What kind of love do I want to build? And once those questions were born, there was no going back. They began to see the truth of their past connection with new eyes. They saw that it was no longer based on love, but on habit, not on growth, but on repetition. They realized they were not thriving there. They were only surviving. And the more their spirit awakened, the more unbearable it became to keep living small. The angels whispered to them in these moments. At first, the whispers were soft, but then they grew louder. You are not here to follow rules that break your heart. You are here to build something sacred and real. You are here to love in a way that reflects the divine within you. And finally, they listened. They chose to let go. This choice was not made in chaos or cruelty. It was not meant to betray anyone. It was made with reverence. They honored what once was, but they stopped pretending that something still alive could be built out of what had already spiritually dissolved. And so they released it. They walked away not because of hatred, but because of truth. Their soul said, "This is no longer my path," and they obeyed. When they turned away, they were not just moving toward you. They were moving toward a vision of love that feels like prayer, not performance. They were stepping toward a connection that feels like home, not like duty. They looked at you and saw a partner who wanted presence, not perfection. And they knew they could not carry their past into something so sacred. They had to leave it behind so they could stand before you whole. Dear child, the angels want you to know this love being offered to you now is not the same love your person gave in the past. It is not a love heavy with expectation, guilt, or compromise. It is a love born of awakening, one that is deeply spiritual and free. Your person is not rushing into this. They are building it slowly, carefully, with the seriousness of someone who has learned the cost of compromise. They no longer want a love that just looks good on the outside. They want a love that heals, that nurtures, that honors both of your souls as chosen and sacred. Right now, your person is still integrating this transformation. They are shedding the old layers that once made them small. They are unlearning patterns of silence, of people pleasing, of emotional survival. They are not yet perfect in expressing this new self. Sometimes they may stumble. Sometimes they may seem quiet. But each step they take now is guided by truth. They are becoming someone who no longer seeks approval from the world outside, but listens instead to the voice within. And it is that inner voice, the whisper of spirit, that led them to release the past and is now leading them to you. So breathe, dear soul. This is not just a breakup. This is a breakthrough. What has ended is not just a bond with another person. It is a whole way of life that no longer served them. The past has been released with reverence, and the future is being built with faith. You are not waiting for someone who is divided in their heart. You are being prepared for a love that is whole, steady, and holy. The angels also want to reassure you about your own heart. You have waited with so much patience. You have shown compassion in moments of silence, strength in moments of uncertainty, and love when it would have been easier to walk away. Sometimes you have wondered if your patience made you look weak, if your love made you too easy to overlook. But the angels say it is your light that broke the chains. It was your steadiness that reminded them what love truly is. You were not demanding, yet you were powerful. You were not loud, yet you were radiant, and your person felt this, even when they could not explain it. You became the quiet proof that love does not drain, it heals. Because of this, your connection is entering a new season, one where shadows of the past no longer intrude, one where your person shows up with more presence, more openness, and more devotion than before. They are not hiding anymore. They are not split between two lives. They have chosen, and they have chosen you, not as an escape, not as a backup, but as the sacred love that their soul has been waiting for. The angels want you to see the beauty of what is unfolding. Your person has let go not only of a past relationship, but also of a version of themselves that no longer exists. They have faced pain, guilt, and fear, and they have come out on the other side with clarity. They are learning that love does not have to be earned through sacrifice. Love does not mean losing yourself. Love does not mean staying out of obligation. They are finally free, and this freedom makes their love for you more real than ever. Dear one, your patience was not wasted. Your prayers were not ignored. What you are about to experience is a love that is deeper, truer, and more spiritual than anything either of you has known before. And though your person is still learning how to live fully in this truth, every day they grow stronger, lighter, and more ready to stand beside you. This is not the beginning of a love built on fear. This is the beginning of a love built on truth.